Hello again, everyone. Dr. Dan Bachman here, and you may be able to tell just from looking at me that a lot has changed since the last time we talked. So my last update was many months ago, I feel like. So I wanted to catch you guys up a little bit, friends and family, and anyone else who's following along. So basically, I had my bowel resection surgery May 15th. Today is July 30th, so we're a month and a half, two and a half months out from that. And I was in the hospital for about 2 months. I had really poor recovery from that. Couldn't eat for about 2 months. And I'm not even kidding. Liquids here and there, maybe a Jello every 5 days or something. And I lost 50 pounds. So I went into surgery weighing 180. And in the hospital, at one point I was 129, and I'm 6'1", so you can imagine how skinny I am, and I was. I mean, I'm still pretty skinny here. But I've been home for about 3 weeks and gaining some weight. It's been a long, difficult process. So the reason I lost so much weight, the surgery went fine. Had no pain from the incisions or anything like that. Basically, they took out the rectum and then reattached the end. So they took out the big tumor and they gave me an ostomy. So an ostomy is just an opening where they divert your food while you allow the area that was just cut on to heal. So an ostomy is basically they take a section of tubing, which is what an intestine is, and they cut the tube kind of halfway down and then leave you with one opening that protrudes from your belly. Now I'm going to show you real quick. It's not gross. It's just a bag basically that's hanging off right here, off of me. This bag is where all my food goes after I eat, during digestion, and it means I'm only using my small intestine. So my large intestine has been, basically there's a roadblock there which allows the large intestine to heal, which is where the surgery was on. So while that's been healing, everything's supposed to go into this bag, and then I emptied the bag. And then once the original surgery is healed, meaning that the connection we made is all sealed up there and ready to handle food, then they call it reversing the ostomy. That means they take the tube that they had cut and just add the bag on, and they reconnect it. So then I no longer have the bag, which I can't wait for. Let me tell you, it's just a hassle. It's just a hassle. But anyway, they reconnect me, all my tubing and my plumbing, and I recover from that. And hopefully it works well. Now here's the problem that happened. So after they did the surgery, I was not getting any output into my bag, meaning nothing was making it into the bag. So that means everything I ate or drank just inflated my belly bigger and bigger. So I was super bloated, and let me tell you, it's just kind of a misery. And no way to relieve it. And also starving the whole time. So literally starving. So I was in starvation mode for about 2 months. And in fact, I was in and out of the hospital. So a couple times, I had actually 2 or 3 readmissions. So here's what happens. If with an ostomy, what you're essentially doing is you're taking your large intestine out of play. In the large intestine, that's where your body absorbs all its water. So you eat the food, your stomach breaks it down. Small intestine is where you absorb most of the nutrients from the food, the protein, the fat, the carbohydrates. And then once it gets to the large intestine, that's where all the water is taken out. So everything's not, real liquidy. So that's why we get the kind of bowel movements we typically have when we're healthy. They're not liquidy, they're pretty firm. And that's what the large intestine does. It takes the water out and it leaves you with just taking all the stuff you need out of the food you ate, basically. Well, I had no large intestine, essentially, still don't, or not functioning, not being used. So I have more liquidy stuff, and if it's too thin and runny, like liquidy, it runs through you super fast, and there's no time to absorb the nutrients in your small intestine. If it runs to you too slow, or stops, then digestion just doesn't happen, and you get bloated and miserable like I was. Now, there's two possible reasons that we think, for me having this issue with nothing coming through into the bag. One is something called an ileus. I-L-E-U-S, I believe. Basically, if anytime you have abdominal surgery, it can kind of shock the bowel, and it just stops working, meaning it's kind of paralyzed in a way. Typically, and it's common after all abdominal surgeries. I had I didn't really have that after my liver surgery. But that's one of the things I watch immediately after a surgery is, are you getting signs that your bowel's waking up? The signs are either gas or bowel movement. So I did not get those signs, and on top of that, I was just miserable, couldn't sleep at all at night because I was just writhing in agony. So a really long story shorter, hopefully. I got in trouble twice with being dehydrated, having electrolyte depletion, electrolytes being minerals like salts and potassium and stuff like that. So if you're not absorbing the liquid, because it's, either things aren't flowing at all or they're flowing too fast, you can get into an electrolyte deficit. And that's just, your brain stops working, you crash. I mean, I was pretty much comatose, almost in a coma. My sodium was 113, normal is about 137 up. And my sodium is the thing that was always getting low. My sodium at 113 is when they start looking for seizures and loss of consciousness and stuff like that. So that's when last time I was readmitted to ICU, I went to my oncologist, and I had to be wheeled in a wheelchair. So not even kidding, this is how weak I was. I could not walk. I was too wobbly, too weak. I mean, I've lost all my muscle mass, plus I'm not getting any nutrients. I've been starving for weeks and months at various points. So my oncologist ran some blood work, said, oh my gosh, your hydration is gone, there's none of it, there's no electrolytes, I'm sending you to the ICU right now. So we just happened to be next door at the hospital. So that worked out. So again, trying to simplify this a little bit, it was just an awful experience. But I appear to be on the other side of that now. So even once I got home, we played around. My mom's been staying with me, and we've been playing around with diet, trying to find what I can eat that keeps my flow the right speed. And basically, it's the consistency of what ends up in the bag that you watch. If it's too runny, it means it's zipping through too fast. You're not keeping any of those nutrients. If it's too thick, it can clog things up. Oh, here's the other thing. So what we figured out from the beginning, I was telling my surgeon, I said, it feels like everything moves through my gut. I can feel burbling and gurgling. It feels like it's the last 4 inches right before it comes out into the bag, right before the ostomy. It feels like that's where it's too tight, or the opening's too small, nothing can get through. I said, that's what it feels like to me. Well, turns out that was it. So we tried all kinds of things, meds to speed up motility, things, tried some bowel studies, tried some imaging to see if there was a blockage or a stricture. What we ended up using was a urinary catheter, running it through the opening into my small intestine, through this little opening on my belly. That's just a tube that allows things to get through if the opening was too small. Oh my gosh, I got so much relief. Everything just started pouring out of me. It was so much relief. So right now, I've just kept that tube in me. It's a catheter. So there's a tube going down into my belly that ends up in the bag. So that's how what is inside me gets into the bag now. And it will stay there until my surgery in 2 weeks. August 15th is my reversal surgery. So they're gonna reconnect all my plumbing August 15th. And boy, let me tell you, I cannot wait for that. And I'm crossing my fingers that we do not have similar issues after that surgery. And I think I just feel much better about this upcoming surgery being a success. What was the other thing I was going to tell you? Catheter. Yeah, so basically right now I eat like a horse. I don't keep all my nutrients because I still have just a part, I'm only using part of my digestive system, which would extract those nutrients. So I eat more than maybe I did before, but I have to make sure I don't eat anything like fruit with skins, like a pear. I would have to peel a pear because the skin doesn't digest as readily, and it can plug up that catheter, and then I get bloated and miserable again and gurgly and awful. So I'm eating a lot of soft things or things that digest really easily. I hope this hasn't been too confusing. It's been such a long gap here in updates. But the long story short is right now I weigh about 150 pounds. I've only in the last week started actually adding body weight. I got home, I was eating a ton, and my weight stayed the same, 139, 140, 139, 140, for weeks. And it's only in the last week or so that it started, I started gaining ground and keeping it. So anyway, hope that's not too disjointed and confusing an update there for you. But I did want to check in. I will give you guys more updates coming up soon. I have not been working this whole time, so it's driving me crazy. Anxious to get back to work and see patients. I'll probably have a 2 or 3 week recovery after surgery. Again, hoping that we don't have complications like before. And that'll be my last surgery. Again, God willing and the creek don't rise. That should be my last surgery I need. I may have a round of chemo afterward just to clean up any residual little tumor seeds that may be here and there. And then we just do periodic scans, CT, MRI, whatever, just to make sure nothing's popping up again. Because again, with my liver surgery, this was colon, but with my liver surgery, something big number like 80% of cancer grows back after you've had it removed there. So I'm going to try to break those numbers. Again, I just feel like some of these numbers don't apply to me. So in summary, doing way better, even though I had some issues that I would not wish on anyone. And excited about the future. And Mom and I are going to go watch the Top Gun movie this afternoon. It's a Saturday afternoon. We're going to catch a matinee. So I'm going to let you guys go. Love you all. Sorry about no updates or comments, but I'm going to try to catch up with comments with you guys. Thank you again for following along. God bless you. Love you all. And we'll talk to you soon.